Welcome to Bible Journaling 66 and our series on the Parables of Jesus Christ. Please like and subscribe and ring that bell if you want notification when we upload a new one. The parable of the Impolite Guest is found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 14 and verses 7 through 14. The background to this parable starts in verse 1 of Luke chapter 14. Now it happened as he went into the house of one of the rulers of the Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath. They watched him closely. Jesus was having a meal with some of the religious leaders, and this leads to his teaching about being humble. So during the course of this meal, we come to a parable in verse 7. So he told a parable to those who were invited when he noted how they chose the best seats, saying to them, "When you are invited by anyone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best place, lest one more honorable than you be invited by him. And he who invited you and him come and say to you, 'Give place to this man,' and then you begin with shame to take the lowest place." Jesus was saying, when you're invited to dinner, don't rush to get the best seat. The host may have someone else in mind for that spot. Back in those days, the center seat of each side of the table was the seat of honor, which made 4 places of honor at each table. In those days, they didn't have place cards, so people rushed to get the best seats in the house. The younger Pharisees would beat the elders to take that seat, which was also closest to the food in the center of the table. Continuing in verse 10, "But when you are invited, go and sit down at the lowest place, so that when he who invited you comes, he may say to you, 'Friend, go up higher.' Then you will have glory in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For whosoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." Here, Jesus is saying, when you are invited to dinner, be humble and don't take the seat of honor, but the lowest seat. That way the host may tell you to take a seat of honor. Now make sure you don't miss that point. For whosoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Then in verses 12 through 14, Jesus adds another principle, a bonus, if you will. Then he said unto them who invited him, "When you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, your relatives, nor rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back, and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you. For you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just." Here he is telling us to invite guests who could never repay the favor. When you give without hope of return or reciprocation, we trust God to bless and provide the reward now or at the resurrection. Jesus had spoken about this, and it's recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 5, verses 28 through 29. "Do not marvel at this, for the hour is coming in which all who are in the graves will hear his voice and come forth, those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. So where do you stand? The Bible tells us in Romans 10, verse 9, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. I believe Jesus is coming very soon. Will you be ready for him? If you're not sure about where you will spend eternity, leave us a comment, or you can send us an email to BibleJournaling66@gmail.com. We'll respond as soon as we can. Well, that's all for now. Until next time, Maranatha. And please like and subscribe and share our channel with those you love. God bless.